Hey, she say, he say, family. Welcome back to another show, another season 3. We back to enlighten you guys. Just a heads up again for maybe some new people that may be joining and didn't catch those first couple episodes. We have a theme for the entire season, right? In the wake of what happened this past year while we were all dealing with COVID, we decided to really focus on us, right? Focus on us as a people. But why are we losing? Why are we losing? So why are we losing economically and socially in this particular country, right? And why is Ash's phone still on? Right? That would be the next question. so
She's looking at it. Like,
Ash's phone is now off.
But so, I ain't check mine while we talking. But anyway, so why are we losing economically and socially in this country? And why are there certain groups of people who, I mean, it's less of them in this country than us, but they never complain about who the president is. They never complain about the politics. Rarely do you ever see them having to march, right? And they are accumulating and building more wealth than what we're building, right? They're more respected in this country than we are. How is that possible, right? So why are we losing? So ultimately, we wanted to deal with marriage. What we found is we found that marriage is a big reason why us as a group or as a culture is losing, because we refuse to get married. So the entire season is around putting more black men and black women together. All right. So we're going to get into it. And, you know, every show I'm going to try to give y'all a little bit of information that I found. And that kind of speaks to our state today as a people. One of the things in my reading I found out was that it was more likely that a slave child would spend they would be reared, a slave child be reared by their mother and father than a black child born today.
It's so sad.
Beyond that.
So we've seen all of the
What does that
all of
say
the
about
movies,
us?
right? We've read the history on how children were stripped from their mothers and
Right.
fathers, and but statistically, slave children were with their mothers and fathers more than black children born today.
that's crazy.
So what does that say about us?
Making bad choices.
Beyond
We
that.
free.
Decisions.
free now.
Exactly.
You know,
What does that say about us?
it says a lot. It says a lot. I mean, people like to say how black people have endured and how strong a people we are. But you kind of got to question that sometimes. You know, you question, have they done their job to us well, right? And is there actually any coming back for us? Now, fortunately, statistically, we are. More fathers are staying in the home and raising their kids. More mothers and fathers are staying together. That is happening. That is a statistical fact. But we're coming out of decades of that. So unfortunately for us, we're losing. So tonight, one of the things we wanted to talk about is we wanted to talk about the way our counterparts, racial counterparts, see marriage, right? So that we can speak on maybe why they may be doing a little bit better than what we are. All right. So I'm going to throw the first statistic out to you. So our first group we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about our Caucasian brothers and sisters, right? All right. They have a marriage rate of about 54%. Okay.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, they have a marriage rate of about 54%. Now, what's interesting though is Dream Queen did an interview with a biracial young sister who was reared by a white mother, right? Who we're definitely going to put on the show. We're going to take that interview, we're going to put it on the show for everyone to see. But Dream Queen, tell us a little bit about what you found about this young lady who was reared by a white mother.
I found out that she is less open to black culture, less aware of it. She relates more to the white side, I guess, because her mother being the mother. You know, most of the time as kids we spend more time with mother because her dad is a truck driver, I believe. But I feel like the structure in the home, the way the home was set up, it allowed her to think that, to be in that state of mind where she probably related more with the white side than the black. And as far as marriage goes, I feel like, because you'll see in the interview, I feel like because they were together for so long, even though they weren't together romantically, they had separated and were still, friendships you would never know. And they just recently here got divorced. They've been living apart for a while now. And they just here recently got divorced, but they were still living in the same home at some point. They were still, so I feel like in the Caucasian race that, especially when it's paired with a black male, that there's less presence of the culture in the home. Because if the dad is not present, he's working to provide for, the children and the wife, then he's not there to educate them on things of the culture. So they're just going off of what mom is presenting them with, and she's not presenting them with anything of the culture as this Whitney's an adult now, and so I feel like when the mom is white in the home, the culture is not in the home. As far as marriage goes, there's no teaching of marriage. And as you'll see in the interview, there's no teaching. Nobody sat her down and was like, this is what you need to do. There were not a lot of successful marriages around her. It was just something that she felt like that was something that you do. You grow up, you get married, you have kids.
Yeah, and then it sounds like more so whenever it's that kind of dynamic that the white mother can't teach her the culture. I mean, even if she wanted to, be influential and put her down in front of movies and things like that, she can't fully teach her what it is to be her black side of the family. She would have needed to have stays at her grandma's house or stays at her other family's house. She would have needed to go there, frequently in order to get that type of time. And it doesn't sound like she got that.
No.
Okay. All right. What you think about that, Troy?
I agree with Ash.
Okay.
Wholeheartedly.
Okay.
I also agree with Dream Queen. A white mother cannot teach any black child, mixed child, about our culture.
Okay.
Period. They haven't lived it. They don't know it.
They don't even understand it.
They don't even understand it. They don't even recognize the wrong that has been done to our culture.
Right.
So there's no way they can understand it or even try to teach it to their children.
Or even if they recognize it, they still just can't wrap their full brain around it because they never really had to live or endure it. You know what I mean? Like,
you can empathize,
right? But you can't.
But I don't truly know your walk, right? Just like the Black Lives Matter movement, when we saw all the white brothers and sisters out there that were marching, they can empathize, right? But they don't really know. They just sick and tired of seeing us get choked out. But they don't really understand how long this has been going on. Right. They don't understand what it's like to be fearful in this country, right? I mean, just prime example. Right now, they're talking about taking our guns because of what just happened in Colorado, right?
Right.
Because you know me, I love my guns.
Yes.
I love my guns, right?
Yes.
But here's the thing. They don't know our fear because when they're talking about taking our guns from us, my attitude is this. I'll give you my gun as long as you strip the police as well.
Right.
Because I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't have guns because I'm afraid somebody's gonna break in my house. Right? I'm afraid of no knock warrants, and I'm gonna live.
Right.
You dig?
That part.
So they don't know what that type of fear is like in this country.
And also, 9 times out of 10, their grandfather or great grandfather was a slave owner or knew someone who was.
Yes.
Exactly. So they grew up mixed feelings anyway. On their side, they're taught black people is this.
Right.
In their heart, they're thinking, well, I like black people. I might want to,
Some up to their closest of kin. Some up to their still closest of kin.
Exactly.
They still are living with somebody that's still living right next to them, saying, well, that little such and such, or that little such and such kid is down the street, you can, and the dang baby is half and half. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of those families still live with those parents that believe, the N-word.
Say it.
Girl, you
say it, Ash.
I'm not trying to do that.
Say
I'm
the
trying
word.
to
You
My
gotta
mama
say the
said
word.
it. Don't
Wrong.
Say the word.
That's my mama's favorite word. She was
Say
calling
it.
everybody the N-word. Hey, like, that's her thing.
Hey.
But I'm saying they will, because I know, in just being friends with 2 of my really close white girlfriends, both of them have told me, you know, the one, her mama still, and the other one, you know, it's not her mama, but like her aunts and things like that. You know what I mean? They still kind of racist.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
still, you know, the little nigga child.
And a lot of that, what you got to understand, a lot of that goes with class, right? What I found it, and even in the marriage piece, that, you know, higher educated people went to college, they may have had a few sociology classes.
These ain't
right?
educated people.
So that being the difference. The people that you saw marching with Black Lives Matter, most of them were probably highly educated people, had a few sociology courses, and know historically what we've been through, right? So they can empathize a little bit, right, with what we've been going through. But the social economic difference between those ones who are still openly racist, right, is probably a little different. They probably didn't get any of those sociology courses, right? So that's more than likely going to be the difference there, right? So with that being said, let's talk about the Caucasian race a little bit. We weren't able to get any Caucasians on. However, but let's look at statistics. Statistically, they are 54%. Their marriage rate is at 54%, right? Now, their median household income is $65,000 a year. Medium household income, $65,000. And they believe in marriage at a higher rate than what Black people believe in marriage. Okay? All right. So let me ask you guys this. We can speculate on it, right? Most of the kids, I grew up in Kansas City, which we didn't know until we moved to Atlanta how white Kansas City is, right? We didn't know. But most of the kids that I went to school with, you know, I went to, you know, a diverse middle school, diverse elementary school, maybe even more white than Black. Most of my white friends that I grew up with, most of them had two parents in the home. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. You know, when I would go spend the night at their houses, mom and dad was at the house. Well, when I look around at my black homies, all my partners that I grew up with, out of 10 of us, there was only one who had the father in the home. Okay? Now, didn't mean that maybe the fathers weren't in their life. Like, my pops wasn't in the house, but he was definitely present. Right? You know, him and mom just couldn't figure it out, but he was definitely present in my life. But we're talking about at home every day with a child. Out of 10 of us, there was only one of us who actually had their father in the home. You dig? So I definitely think there's a huge disparity between the way our white racial counterparts view marriage and the way we view marriage.
I mean, at the end of the day, it definitely has everything to do with what you get to see on a regular basis. If we're coming home every day and we only see mom, or we only see grandma, or even some of the families just see dad, you know what I mean? But, you know, and like you said, the white counterparts, they come home, they see mom and dad every day. That's all they get to see. That's all they know. That's what they were brought up on. So they're inclined to want to do exactly what they see, what's around them. They're going to want to kind of follow those footsteps. And what we see is, you know, half the time what we're taught, it's not what we see, it's what we're taught, is that we have to build, no matter how that looks. If it's with a father in the house, with the mother, we don't usually, like, I grew up with my grandma, so I didn't even have my dad or my mom in the house. I had to, you know, visit with them. So I did get to see a marriage because I had a best friend. Her mom and dad lived down the street. I was over their house all the time, so I got to see their marriage. My dad, he did remarry or get married because he was never married to my mother. And so I got to see marriage. So I understood it. I wanted it. I knew that was something that I wanted in my life. But at the same time, if you don't see it, you only know what you see. You only know how to survive and how to get through life off of what you're brought up under.
Right.
And so I think that's why more white people tend to go towards, you know, the two-parent home, no matter how that looks, even if they're not happy in it or whatever they're going through, they still stick it through because that's what they grew up with.
Okay.
I feel like that's all they knew. We could take it back to slave days. If you think about the slave days, or if you watch any documentaries or movies, you can see that the men always made sure the women of the house were taken care of. It don't matter if they was laying with, you know, Sarah Jane in the barn. the first lady of the house had everything she needed. Even when he wasn't there, she was second in command. Everybody had to listen to what she said. So I feel like in the Caucasian race, because they believe so much, it represents stability. Even if they're not present. Like, I was raised in the country, Crowville. I was the only white girl in my class I was the only black girl in my class until I got to like the 4th grade. So I just automatically thought that I was like the token black girl. Like, and when I got to 4th grade and I seen other black people, I was just like, oh shit. Hey, y'all. I didn't know it was more black. But I feel like it's that's where the statistics, stems from.
Right.
Less black men are, catering to our black women and making sure that they have everything they need in the home so that we feel secure in a marriage. I mean, so we feel secure if he's out there doing whatever, you know what I'm saying? We can still
Feel secure.
thrive and feel secure in our
domain.
Like, you out there, I'm at home in my 4-bedroom, 5-bath, whatever.
Good. I know
cooking
my light,
in my
right.
nice kitchen. Like, I'm chilling. But see, the men are not taking care of home, therefore it causes the split. Because if you ain't providing me nothing, what I'm sitting here for?
Right, now I gotta go out.
Now I got to go and get it my own.
Oh, man.
That part.
This was only supposed to be a half-hour show, but Dream Queen has opened up a can of worms. But Trey, how you feel?
I'm just stating facts.
How you feel about
Big
what
facts.
she just said?
Still wrapping my mind around it. It's some validity to it. I think the Caucasian race does have a sense of stability with their husbands. Out working and providing, they staying at home, cooking, take care of the children. They're not going to divorce that because they don't know what it's like to work, what it's like to be on their own and provide for themselves and the children. Because when you divorce, you got the kids. You don't know how to work, provide, and take care of the children. So you're going to go through the bullshit with your husband because you know he's providing all that stability.
Right.
What Dream Queen is saying is they go through the bullshit.
Period.
With their husband, as long as he's providing everything she needs, everything they need. It's
got it.
Two different sides to it, but it's...
Got it. I dig it. And there's definitely some truth to it. There's definitely some truth to it. A woman who is secure, hell, a man who's secure.
Exactly.
Period.
For that matter, is less likely to have issue with what goes on outside the house if we keeping it 100, right? So that's next show. That's next show.
But as we're speaking as race, the Caucasians are more likely to turn a blind eye. Y'all know them women knew that the men was sleeping with the house ladies, the house whatever. They knew this. But did they go in there and be like, I'm finished, I'm leaving, I'm getting my dresses and I'm gone? Like, no. They went in the room and closed the door and cried it out. He came in there and laid with them. Okay, that was it.
Smashed them too.
Even down to the CEOs, the Fortune 500. Them women know that them men are not just going to lunches on, at lunchtime. They going to go see that little thing they got on the side, or they're out here tricking. They doing what they got to do, and them women know. What was the movie? I hate when I want to remember something. But there was a movie that said it. Like, he had the black girl. He was every Wednesday. He was gonna go lay with her, and the mama knew. She was like, "Girl, his daddy did that. He's seen his daddy do."
Praise, right?
There we go.
Family to
there
praise.
You go. He was like his daddy used to do that. Everybody knew, and she was like, "Girl, if you don't go,
find you something to do.
Go get that money. Like you're set." You are set. You have everything you need. So they think about all that. They think about that before they get in. They think about that when they're getting into the marriage. They think about that when they decide who they're going to marry. They think about all that. They know the history. Them white women know what they're doing when they do it. So they're looking for stability, but at the same time, they're looking for that come up too. And us black women, we be so hooked to our pride that we don't want to let that go. We want to be like,
so pride is why we broke. Pride is why, as a people,
pride is a sin. Y'all just didn't even know.
Now we know why. Pride is the reason why, as a people, we broke, because we refuse to hang in when things get a little shaky at the house, right? And the biggest depletion of wealth is divorce, right? It's the biggest difference.
Yeah, there's a difference in a little shaky and a whole earthquake, though. Let's clear that up. I mean, things can get a little shaky, but we don't got to go like earthquake-ish, like
Right.
0.5, or
So,
like
so explain to
7
me
or
what you
something.
mean. So are you saying because both men cheated, right? White man, black man, both
Right.
men cheated. Is it an earthquake because he's not bringing in as much money?
Most definitely.
Okay, that just make it clear.
I'm gonna need you to secure all this and
Right.
me
Secure the bag
before you feel
secure
like you can go
house.
out and, sir, you ain't got it like that.
Right.
Okay.
You're not
You
even
don't have it
you're
like
not
that.
even rap like that.
Like, if you can't take care of
Sit
me
down.
and you can't feed me, how you finna feed her?
Oh, okay. Well, maybe she feed him.
Oh,
Well, maybe
But
you
then you need to
Maybe
take
she
a,
helped
you
him.
need to
maybe-
take a little bit of
she
that
helped him
plate.
hey, maybe them new shoes you got last week came from her.
Well, we all need to sit down and have a conversation at this point because we're all in a relationship. And if you
But
want to
that's-
contribute, we can contribute for real. We can put down numbers. We can put out our check stubs and see what's what. Okay.
But
dig it.
if you even think about it though, back to, you know, when our parents or grandparents, I'm not going to say parents because my parents didn't, but like back to our grandparents or great grandparents, even those black women knew certain things were happening behind their back, but they knew he was making sure that household was taken care of. These black men don't do that no more. They don't take care of their household. They're so quick to run. They're so scared to, you know, be the man of the house, to take care of the household. They don't even know how. And I don't know where it went wrong or, you know, where the missteps were, but
y'all changed it.
speak on it.
This is next show.
Oh.
This is literally next show.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let y'all attack each other right now.
No,
definitely,
no attack.
definitely,
No attack.
definitely tune in next show.
Love spank.
But that is that's actually the next show where we talk about how from the 50s
Yeah.
to the 60s to the 70s,
Okay.
how and why things changed.
And they
Right.
raised their kids though. Those kids seen a mother and father. Even if daddy was down the street, down at the tavern, getting it in,
You seen him.
they still seen daddy come home.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They still seen mommy and daddy have a dynamic that, you know, a lot of our children don't get to see anymore because, you know, there's that stability, that everything that needs to come along with having a long lasting relationship is not there. And even down to the women, our women are not the same. They don't want to stick it out and understand and be understanding and take in that, you know, there's certain things that I got to do to stabilize my home and understand that there might be some bumps in the road, but we got to get through those. No, everybody's so quick to run. Everybody, you know, this is the microwave age. Everybody, if it ain't going the way I wanted to, how I wanted to, then I'm out. And that's crazy to me.
But I like the way you said that, though. You said that we're quick to run. So that segues into the next group. The next group are Asian Americans, who are actually the richest Americans. Right?
Yeah, they got the money.
Other
They
than
get
the
the red
Jews,
carpet rolled out
Yeah.
for them here in the United
Yeah.
States.
Exactly.
Yeah,
They got it
that.
all. They got every corner.
And we built it and we can't get
Every
nothing
corner
on
is
it.
sewed up with a hair store. Every corner sewed up with their little
beauty
corner
supply.
store.
Massage
But wait a minute,
parlors.
though. We can't see. Here's the problem. We want to blame the system. We want to blame white folks. We want to blame everybody. But let's be honest. Their marriage, they have the highest marriage rate in the country.
I can believe it.
Yeah.
61%.
Yeah, they're
And-
they're
and-
keeping the money in the family.
Exactly.
In the
And they
family.
have the lowest divorce rate in the country.
But it also
right?
goes with what they believe. Their
That's
beliefs
true.
are work first, then family.
Yes.
They don't believe in family first,
Yes.
then work.
Okay.
Their whole mindset is work. Get that bag, then you worry about your
Wealth.
family.
That's
Yeah.
it. Wealth, status, and prestige is what they are founded on, right? And by any means necessary, right? But you got to understand the nature of most of their marriages, especially the ones that come into the country that were not native, is that there are a lot of arranged marriages anyway, right?
Right.
Arranged marriages last longer than the marriages that we put together. And the reason those marriages last longer is because it's a family being married as opposed to as
Right.
opposed to two individuals being married.
Right.
So those
And
marriages last
stature
longer.
and
Right.
what they have
They
for
believe in that.
themselves.
They
They
believe
believe
in-
in joining those kind of unities.
Right.
They look at all of that before they pair the two.
Exactly. So there's actually family looking at this union. Is this a good one? Yes, it is a good one, and this is what we're doing, right? So, but through their culture, they've been able to amass more wealth than us, simply because of the way that they view family and the ability to build wealth. Now, what you did say, a lot of them, when they do come over, they do get a lot of benefits and government benefits, and it's systemic. However, what we don't know is when you and me have to go to a bank for a loan, a lot of times they go to each other.
Yep.
Right? So when they're building wealth, they don't have to go with hat in hand down to
Right.
whatever bank. Usually they are leaning and building businesses and wealth with each other. This
why
all goes back to what you said about securing the bag first. I can't get mad at them for that.
No.
I can't get
either.
mad at
We
them
need
for
to
the
learn
way that
from
they
them.
handle
And
business.
that's why, like you said, they're paired together. They pair each other's families together because of their stature and their wealth. And they know, look, I can lean on you to give me this, and you can lean on me to, you know what I mean, to make this happen. They know what they're doing before they even pair the things together. So yes, they're going to give because they want to see them keep on, everybody keep on building in the family. Everybody, and that's even back to the white people. If you really think about it, they'll give in a heartbeat. They'll give their kid a business. They'll give their kids. You know what I mean? They pass things down. We don't pass things down anymore.
Legacy. But let me ask you this. So when I didn't tell everybody, their median income by household is $87,000. More than white people. Right? $87,000. So that's their median
They
income.
teach.
And then the other thing is that the other thing is too is that they at the end of the day they handle their business. When was the last time you seen a group of Asian teenagers on the internet twerking on a regular basis? No. Now they have their little dance groups; they can dance their ass off. But as far as the BS that we see our children doing, they believe in education. Education, they're more educated than most Americans.
Yes, I
right?
mean in their cities, I think they go to school all year round.
Yes.
They go to school all year round. So I mean, imagine going to school all year round. You're being educated every day, all day. That's all you're doing, and then, like I said, you're being passed down the business. Like you're going to school, and then after school, you're in your family business every day.
You own a business.
So that's all you're doing all the time is school and business. That's all so you're being taught
That's
how
a part
to
of life.
right. This is the way we function. This is what we do, and this is how we operate. And so they're going to continue that, and they're already learning from little kids how to be in the business, how to start the business, how the business functions. So, and then they're being educated all year round. So yeah, they're more likely to succeed than we are.
But we got to take ownership of that
We do.
because what are the percentages of the black race? What's our income?
I wasn't going to go there, but we can go there.
Educate us.
We weren't
We're
going to go
gonna
there
tell
to the
about
next segment,
everybody,
but
then.
no,
Let's let us know.
we were going to go Latino next, but let me give you the baseline.
Okay.
African American marriage rate 29 to 32%.
And what's the financials?
$40,000
Is that the lowest?
median income. That's the median. It's not the lowest.
Okay.
It's the median.
So-
I think
That's
when
the
you
middle,
get low,
yeah.
I mean, you get to no money.
Right.
The median
Right.
income for the African American
And that's not
household
even good.
is
That's not even minimum
$40,000
wage.
a year.
That's
So,
barely minimum
listen,
wage.
$40,000 a year ain't much for a household. But yet
no.
still, we find the money to go to Panama City and Miami for spring break,
Tell them again.
get the Gucci belts.
Right.
Tell them again.
You know what I'm saying? So
Over
the little
here.
money we do have, we're wasting.
Keeping up with
Yes,
the
sir.
Joneses.
We are wasting.
Say it again.
Yes, sir.
Keeping up
You
with
know,
the Joneses.
So we got to take responsibility for our
I ain't even
own
gonna sit here and lie to
situations.
you. I just said
That's
that today. I was at the gas station, and behind me pulls up, I think it was like a Camaro, and the little boy got out of the damn car. I was like, I don't even want to know where you got the little Camaro at, because I'm like, what made you buy this car? I mean, he was in his little sweatpants, and I'm like, where do we go wrong when we feel like cars and jewelry and clothes are the highlights of our life? Like,
Yes.
I would have loved to see what his bank account looked like, or what, you know what I mean, where his kids are, because he was old enough to have had kids.
It's just like you see somebody driving a 2-door coupe and they live in a shack. The door doesn't close all the way.
Or they ain't got no furniture in their house.
That part.
That's
But
what
when you
I'm
go
saying.
in there,
They
you
sit on
just
folding chairs.
Right.
you
You know
scared
what
to
I'm
put your
saying?
purse down because you might come
Yeah.
out with a roach in your bag. Like,
But that's what
But-
I'm saying. It's just like
that's
our
us, though.
morals
You
are
gotta-
all.
you gotta
that
Oh,
is
yeah.
us, but that's a
God.
part of it. I mean, think about the Asians. They all wear uniform. Nobody over there are wearing street clothes.
No.
They all wear uniform from the time they start school to the time they get out. Uniform.
Now wait a minute, Dream. We're talking about Asian Americans, though.
I know, but I'm saying
talking
as
about
birth.
you talking about Orientals? I mean,
No,
as
we're
far
talking
as,
about from like them training them up in this way.
okay.
Them training them up
But
in
what
this
about
way.
Native Asians though, who are born in American culture?
Let's talk about them.
Their grandma or somebody is at home. They all, I'm telling you, their grandma or someone is in the home. They're teaching them. They're passing down these generational culture things that they need to hold on to. Like, you don't need that shiny, necklace. You don't need, this is what you need.
Right. They don't see any of that. How many, if y'all can tell me how many Asian Americans now you see running around here with shiny jewelry or the latest J's.
But are wealthy.
Or none. Not one.
But are
not
wealthy.
one. If you look at the Asian Americans right now, if you go into any Chinese store, they got on some regular little sandals, some
on
little
the shelf
flip
in the
flops,
stove.
some blue jeans, and a t-shirt, and they look like they could have went to the thrift store for the whole outfit. Like they got on
But I'm sure
striped
they can
shirts
buy
and
everybody's
wrapped
car
skirts.
in the store.
Yeah.
And
But
a
there
lot
you
of
go.
times they make their own clothes.
That too.
Asians and a lot of times they make their own. I got a buddy I work with that's Asian American. He make his stuff.
Okay.
He got his own brand.
Yeah.
Travis, you want to buy my jeans? And show me the picture of him on his phone and everything. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, but that's it.
Enterprise.
Yeah,
Enterprise.
like-
That's it.
Enterprise.
They
But
take
we want to go buy somebody else's jeans, but we
Yeah.
refuse to.
That's our
make it
culture,
support our
though.
own. Yeah, it's cultural.
Exactly.
It's cultural. It's cultural.
Exactly.
It's cultural. So we're gonna
We're
take.
making
we're gonna
everybody
take a,
else rich.
We gonna. That's what we do. We're gonna take a quick break, and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna hit Latino and African American, and basically see the differences in the way that we deal with things and the way they've dealt with things and where we are. So we'll be right back. All right, we back, family. So here we are. We're talking about how our counterparts, racial counterparts, see marriage and what type of success they are having. So we talked about white, we talked about Asian, who are really winning. And let's talk about Latino. We'll talk about Latino and African American. We'll lead off with Latino. I think it's important to understand with a lot of Latino Americans, they have dealt with some of the same systematic racism that we deal with as African Americans, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's important to know that. Just simply because there's been a higher incarceration rate of blacks and browns than it has been any other race in this country since the 1970s. So their community as well has been decimated, and we're talking about native Latinos. We're not talking about the ones that are just coming over, just been over the last few years, who don't get it nor understand it. We're talking about those Latino families that lived through the Holocaust. And when I talk about the Holocaust, I'm talking about the drug trade of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So I've officially called it the Holocaust. Now I'm gonna make some people mad, but essentially, if you look at the lives that were lost, the wealth that was lost, and the incarceration, that's essentially what it was, right? So they've been through some of the same things we've been through. And the Latino marriage rate is at 46%, which is still better than ours, right? And their median income by household is $49,000, better than ours.
I would have thought it would have been more though.
I would
They have a
have
lot
to.
more people living in their homes.
But once again, you're still back to we're talking. That's the median income, right? And then you're still back to they deal with the same social economic things that we deal with, right? They deal with the mass incarceration. They deal with it being harder to get jobs, in this particular society than what the Asian American or the white American, because of education and because of who controls the jobs in this country, right? So they deal with a lot of the same socioeconomic issues that we deal with, but yet because, like you said, they are willing to lean more on each other, I think we see them winning a little bit more than us. Not to mention, if we're paying attention, the married rate
It's higher.
So they're gonna amass more wealth than us, and that's the point.
And one thing that I worked with somebody, that was expressing that inside of their culture, a lot of the things that they do is they have a system where they put money in a pot and they give it to, here, this week is for you. Go, do what you need to do with this so-called, like they'll give each other $100. Everybody will put $100 in the pot, and it'll go to this person today. It'll go to that next person next week. It'll go to this person, and they just keep it. It's like a revolving thing, so that they are able to, pay their bills, get to these jobs. They create their own wealth. A lot of them go out and they'll find jobs. They're out here doing construction, they're out here landscaping, they're out here cleaning, they're out here doing a lot of things that help keep income coming in all the time. So yeah, they're doing better because not only do they lean on each other, but they create their own. So not only are they leaning on each other, creating their own, but they're building family, but they're keeping it all within their families. And if you notice, they stay together.
Yes.
I mean, there's little areas all through Georgia, and that's just like little Mexican areas, or Latino areas. They stick together.
Right.
Yes.
So they lean on each other. They depend on each other. They thrive off of each other. So they're going to keep that money circulating through them. You know what I mean? It's not always going to somebody else, or it's not always going to the big brands and stuff. So even if you see them with flashy stuff, 9 times out of 10 they got it from somebody in their
Somebody
in their area, in their community most of the time.
Yeah, so you and I have formed a company, and we're about to get into the mobile home game, right? And when we ride around, we take a look at these mobile homes. We're noticing that a lot of them are Latino.
Yes, they are.
Right? A lot of them are Latino. However, in the driveway, you will see that it's heating and cooling van in the driveway. You see contractors, right?
All
you
got big trucks.
Right? These guys they're making some money, but they didn't feel the need to go buy the $300,000 or $400,000 house.
Nope.
They're okay with the $40,000 mobile
Mobile
home.
home. That's
Minimalist.
theirs.
Minimalist.
It's theirs.
Yeah,
They
okay
all,
with that.
they keep it. They keep up with it. They do what they want, but they take that money that they're not feeding into that, $400,000 house, and they put it, in their community, into their kids, into the people around them. They have little, shopping malls and shopping areas. They work with each other. Like, I just wish our black people would unite. I always say
our African Americans our Native African Americans would unite, because Africans that come over, they run together. Yeah. They get money together.
You're right.
They get money
You're
together.
right.
They build together.
They
right?
do.
They get money
They do.
together. So we're talking about a select group of melanated people, right? Some bought over, some native, right? But at the end of the day, those who came through slavery, we still have that mentality. We still have that mentality. It was handed down. That mentality was handed down.
And like you said, the Africans, they do work together and they make money.
Yeah,
they
get money.
make money.
Yeah, they get money. And I admire that. I admire how they're able to work together, send money to each other, to
help us.
I mean, they literally
so teach us.
Teach us your ways.
Even down the Africans and the Mexicans literally will go work all week, thumping, grinding, and they will send money to their native country.
They will.
Like, they make sure they do that. If they don't do nothing else,
That's true.
On that Friday when everything's over, they're in that
at the Western Union,
giving up that money. And that's what I don't understand about our community. We're such a greedy group of people that always want, and we want to hold on to what we got, but we don't have nothing.
Why do you think that is?
Because we don't know how to work together.
No, I mean, honestly, at the end of the day, we were trained to be that, right? Because, I mean, you're dealing with real insurrection if you get a group of people, that can maintain them, be able to maintain themselves, build wealth themselves, right? They fear insurrection. Okay, what we saw at in Washington is nothing compared to what they truly fear. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like a pit bull. If you keep your foot on his neck for hours and hours and hours on end, you fear retaliation if you ever let your foot off. Right? So ultimately, what they had to do is they had to breed that out of us. That fear of retribution, they bred it out of us. And the way that they did it is they put us against each other. Okay? So essentially, that's the way that was done. And we'll definitely get into that and how they did that more on the next show when we talk about the beef between black men and women. That's huge, right? So we all hear about the Willie Lynch letters. And many people say that the Willie Lynch letters were they weren't real, right? And even if the Willie Lynch letters were not real, they are, even if it's figurative, it is truly how we have been divided, right? Put the poor the light slave against the dark slave,
Right.
You know, put the male slave against the female slave,
Right.
Right? The old slave against the young slave, right? These are things that they have done systematically to keep us, like you said, divided. So it's all been done by design, right? So we see the way the Latinos are doing, right? So they're even doing better than us because they have a higher marriage rate. And then back to us, we're looking at 29 to 32% get married, right? We don't get married. We refuse to marry each other. We refuse to settle
We
down.
refuse to unite.
Right.
We can't do it.
But marriage, shouldn't marriage be natural though? Shouldn't your inclination?
There's a lot of things that should be natural.
Yeah, but that's my point. But shouldn't your inclination be to grow up and to find someone that is your equal, right? And procreate. I mean, shouldn't that be? Yeah, shouldn't that be? That should be one of the easiest things you can do. Even before I go to a rally, and before I rally my people, and before I stand up and unite my brethren, the first thing I should be able to do is find my equal and procreate.
Right, but like you said just a minute ago, they were put light skin against dark skin, old against young. I mean, we were put to not, like, we literally were divided in every way, shape, and form. Like you said, a lot of the time what ends up happening is, since we were always put against each other, we never get to see how it is to live in a household of two. We never got the knowledge. We never got the lessons. So there's a lot of things that pull us apart. We're so divided now that our mind frame is divided. We can't even think as far as to get back to.
But here's my question, right? So we always talking about securing the bag. We always talking about it. That's all you hear. And we the brokest people on the planet, but we spend more money than anybody else, right? We spend.
Because we got to keep up with the Joneses.
Right. Well, we have to appear like we're something that we're not, right? But my question is, if we know, and maybe a lot of people don't know these stats that I'm pulling out, right? But if we begin to know as a people that you accumulate more wealth together, right? As husband and wife, or husband and wife, or whatever that is, right? You accumulate more wealth together. Doesn't it make more sense to find that person who you can build with and grow to love and settle down? Because and grow to love is very important, because a lot of those arranged marriages that we're talking about that are very successful, they don't love each other in the beginning.
They grow to it.
Yeah, they grow to love each other, right? So doesn't that make sense as a people?
It makes sense, but
why is it that we can't say, let's change the paradigm?
we
right?
should be able to.
We're tired of being the childlike race. Let's go ahead and let's settle down and let's really get this money, right? And let's build, as a group, as opposed to the individual who's always on Instagram swearing they securing the bag. I mean, swearing is just secure.
Got a bag.
Right.
Show Jesus.
Right.
Money phone.
Right.
To the ear.
You know
Ain't
what
got a
I'm saying?
bag
I mean,
to show
swearing you securing the bag, but you waiting on this stimmy because the lights is really about to get cut out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Car
saying?
behind.
Or you took the stimmy and bought that big screen TV instead of maybe investing it in Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You did what I'm saying? So these are the people that I pose that question to, right? And we're gonna go ahead and get ready to close this show out. This show ran a little bit long, but do you guys have anything else in regard to just the way our counterparts see marriage? You guys have anything else that y'all want to bless our listeners?
We got to get out that mind frame of us being pitted against each other. Mm-hmm. Get out that mind frame first, then start working together. Everybody be a lot more happier. Marriages start being more successful. Mm-hmm. You'll start seeing people securing the bag, as they say, together. Mm-hmm. You know, but we got to get out that mind frame. Until we get out that mind frame of, I'm supposed to be against this female because she's such and such, or against this male because he's such and such, we gonna forever be in the same cycle.
Exactly.
Forever.
Like my mom used to say, charity starts at home and spreads abroad. I feel like if we started now, you know, when you learn better, you do better.
Amen.
If you started now educating your kids on marriage, you know, generational wealth, you know, the significance and the benefits of being with your significant other or finding that person, educating yourself first, you know, growing yourself to the place where you can be in a relationship with somebody. If we can teach that and implant that in our children, and, you know, have that be a seed for them, I feel like it would start, you know, something. Eventually, we would be sitting here 10 years later, and our statistics will be better. The numbers will be different.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, all it takes is for you to just start. Because everybody wants to always be like, well, it's too late. No,
It's never too late.
there you go.
Never too late.
Just start.
And for all those fellas out there, every fella got that one woman, right? You know it. Every fella got that one woman that's like, she bad though.
Yeah.
I'm out here doing me, but when I'm ready, she the one.
She the one.
You know what I'm saying? She the one. Man, stop playing games and get with she the
Go
one.
get that
Right.
lady.
Go get with
that
she
lady,
yeah,
sir.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. Go get with she the one. Now tell she the one that you got some issues that you're dealing with. tell she the one you got some issues, but it's you and her against the world, and y'all about to do this thing. And she ain't never got to worry about, you know what I'm saying, you
The
building
bullshit
outside
that
of
come
her.
with it.
Right.
You ain't got to worry about me building outside of you. I got some afflictions
Yeah.
that we'll talk about.
Yeah.
But you ain't never got to worry about me building outside of you, and you going to throw dirt on me. It's me and you forever.
Yes.
Right? So, and real quick before we close out, I know people heard me say him and her, and
her,
him
her and him.
and her.
Well, if they listened to the last shows, they would understand.
But let me put a bow on it.
Him and her.
I'm not against. I mean, here's the thing. I have 2 homosexual children. I am not against homosexual unions. That's your thing. If that's what you choose to do, right? The unions I focus on are unions that are more likely to produce offspring, because the African American black is being wiped out at an alarming rate. Okay, so it's not that I have anything against those unions, but socioeconomically, as people, we're less likely to go get the work done needed to have children, right? Now, those groups you can adopt, please adopt. There's a lot of black children who need to be adopted, but I focus more on those unions that children and offspring come from. Nothing against the other unions. I just wanted to put it out there, so when y'all hear me say it, that's what it is.
Gotcha.
All right.
Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah. So hey, thank y'all for coming out, and thank y'all for listening. We had a great show tonight. We'll be right back next week. Next week we're gonna talk about the beef between black men and black women. What's the Civil War about? Why is it that we can't sit down and get it together? Right?
Right.
All right. So thank y'all, and y'all have a good night.
Good night.
Peace.